Hello there.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Good morning, Vietnam!
It's the Al Travis Show, and we're lucky to have our next guest. He's Senator Rob Kupec on the program. When I say we, I'm so lucky. I called last minute, a guest backs out, and Rob's like, I'll fill in, no problem. Senator, thank you for being here. I really do appreciate you.
Yeah, sure. These are a lot of fun, so I have a good time. So
you're gonna you and I, you've run the risk, and I'm sorry you're gonna have to tell your liberal friends that you and I are gonna end up becoming friends, and that's gonna mess up your whole style. But the guy I just had on before you, Rob, John Knaus, wrote this book, The Leftover Soul. Born and raised Democrat, just a really good cat. Basically, I presume roughly our age. And he just said that it seems that things have moved away from him. Some of his traditional Democratic foundations is no longer the foundation. It's moved from him. And he wrote this book, great book. And I had him on the show, and I'm falling in love with the guy because, quite frankly, Senator Kupec, on my side, it's the same. It seems if you're just holding your basic values, it's those that scream and holler about crazy, weird stuff that are getting all the attention. So I almost feel like I've lost my party as well as like he does. And I'm sorry to say that to a guy who, you're confirmed Democrat. I mean, you're a senator, Democratic senator. Is that a bad feeling? Are he and I wrong that for some reason it's the fringes that make up our party now, and we in the middle are like, you crazy loons?
Yeah, it's always, it's
I'm a crazy.
It's kind of like a purity test, right? How are you? Are you liberal enough, or are you conservative enough? I watched last night.
Yes.
I watched Mark Maron, his latest comedy special,
yeah,
and he had a whole little bit on this actually.
Yeah. Okay.
About, I drink the soy milk. Oh, but did you drink the soy milk from the company that's not a pure company? And it is, I think there are core Democratic values that are really still there. Things that I grew up with, instilled by my parents, who were pretty big, loyal Democrats. Mm-hmm. And they're still there. And those are the things that I think are really important to me. And I'm always willing, though, to find compromise on things where we can meet in the middle.
And are you allowed to even say that, though? Or now somebody from your left flank going to try to primary because you said, what I'm saying? That's, to me, as we boil this down, that's the issue with the far left and the far right, is if I can find the chink in Rob's arbor. Oh, did you hear on the show? He said he's willing to compromise. Attack! Get in! It's crazyville that saying I'll compromise might be the hinge pin to your election. What?
It is, but I also think that is also, I think, a little bit more the way my district is. I think my district is, it is a very split district, and I think there is a realization, and not everybody in my district feels that way, I'm sure, but I think the majority of Democrats realize, there's a greater Minnesota Democrat sometimes just has a little bit different take on things than maybe somebody that lives in a very insulated, surrounded by people who think the same as them, and same goes to the other side too.
No, absolutely. We have the Liberty for Heart or Action for Liberty. We had our own people that are out there going after our own folks. Let me ask you this, and this was one where I'm going to go right away, but I find this interesting. You heard Colbert, it was let go, right?
Yeah.
You and I should be so lucky. You're let go 1 year from now. Here's your $20 million for the next year. Please get your finances ordered. Who gets let go a year out? It is the greatest way of being let go. But that being said, then a couple weeks later now, Stearns has been let go from whatever satellite company he was on. Is that a decisive, when we look back 20 years, will this be a decisive time that says those, and again, I'm a free speech guy. I want to, Colbert should have been allowed to stay, and you're losing $40 million, they're going to do what they want. But he should be allowed to say, I'm only going to rip Trump all day, every day. I don't care, because you can tune in or you don't. I don't care. I'm a free speech guy. Now, it didn't work. ABC said we're gone. You live with that. So I'm not doing it because he's gone, because he's a left-wing guy. But is this a change that the ABCs of the world, that the satellite companies are like, we can't do this and make money? Is this a change when we look back and say, do you remember when those guys got dumped?
Yeah, I mean, well, as somebody who worked in television, the writing has been kind of on the wall for a while. Like, fewer people are watching. There are fewer eyeballs on the sets, and people are watching on their phones and their devices. I guess that, the troubling part of the Colbert thing is that it seems to have come from the top. Like, we are not going to give you this merger deal unless you, silence some of these voices on your network. And that is troubling. And it's troubling no matter who it is. It would be troubling if it was like, you got to cut some right-wing commentator because I'm not going to approve a merger deal. Merger deals should be approved on their merits, not on who
I don't disagree. The idea, though, that they're losing $40 million a year, I don't know how long you can put up with that. You're going to make it up in quantity. I don't know. But my point is you're thinking it's because it's the president of the merger deal. Do we see a change? Because now I'm going to go the other way with you, Senator. Minneapolis has got a guy running that's a devout socialist. You got, New York City. This guy might actually reach the communist definition. I mean, I'm not calling him that, but he's getting pretty darn close. Does the party moving that way? And will we know after the elections then that?
It's hard to say. There is, within the Democratic Party, there's still a lot of like, what happened in 2024, and this always happens after every election, right? And no matter who wins or loses, Republicans do the same thing. They're like,
oh, absolutely.
Do you double down on going further away from the middle, or do you say, let's come back? We weren't, maybe we didn't appeal enough to the middle. And so those are the,
that is so funny you say that.
Things that are going on right now.
That is so funny you say that, because you just only have to look back 4 years. Trump loses to Biden. What does this party do? We can either decide how we did it wrong or what we're going to do, or you double down. We doubled down on Trump, right? I mean, we went back to the same, and it worked for us, fingers quotes. You guys have that exact same decision to make 4 years later, whether you'll double down on what you had or you're going to move back. It will be interesting. Where do you think the party has to go?
Boy, it is,
I don't put you in a box, but we did that same thing 4 years ago.
I would probably be higher than just a state senator from the western edge of Minnesota. But, and I do hear from, we have to go. I am just of that blood of finding compromise and a common ground we can all stand on. Sure, I've got some core values that I'm not going to compromise on, but I do think on so many issues there is some common ground. And sometimes I see, on both sides, I see colleagues plant flags on weird hills, and I'm like, that's the one, really? Like some of them I get why, like, yeah, this is a core value.
Yeah,
I may not agree with that, but I get it. But then sometimes I'm just like, really, this is not. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, it's not anything anybody's even going to vote about. They don't care.
I love that. That is so funny, and it's so true on all sides. I'll watch my side. That's your thing. That's your gig right there. I mean, I'm on your team, and I'm not standing on that hill. I got to go to break. I would like to talk, because as I get along further and further with like this last fraud thing with the house stabilization deal. Again, people steal from us. People will steal from us. We make it pretty easy. I want to discuss it because as I get into it and further down this road, I find there was nothing good about it at all, except the intent. And we'll get into that with Senator Rob Kupec right after this on the Al Travis Show.
Braver Angels Minnesota is part of a national movement that brings together conservatives, liberals, independents, and others to restore trust, respect, and goodwill in politics. We seek not to eliminate our differences, but rather deal with them head on, with respect and understanding. We do not try to change people's views, but how they view the other side. There will always be differences. Braver Angels Minnesota believes the best way forward is to change how we deal with those differences. Join the civil conversation at mn.braverangels.org.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc., Midwest Money Management, and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
As in alligator. L also in alligator. But it's not alligator. It's the Al Travis Show.
And we've got him, Senator Rob Kupec, on the program with us. Senator, again, not a trap for you. I'm just getting really weary. I could list off all the fraud cases we've had recently from Feeding Our Futures, child care, adult daycare, Minnesota Autism Centers. The latest one has got me over the top. So we started a new program in Minnesota through Medicaid, which I don't understand how that works, but it's a homeless thing. Get them houses, they'll feel better. Oh, okay. The federal government says, okay, start her up, giddy up. And from that moment on, the intent, I think, was right. Homeless people need help. We got to chat with them. I think from that moment on, though, everything's downhill. We come up with a new program that we'll pay $70 an hour. Lawyer money. A guy working the Quick Trip's making 14 and, doing the best he can. You can make 70 to go talk to homeless people, and up to 150 hours each about how to be unhomeless. And I'm thinking there's 3, 4, maybe 5 programs on the top side. I don't know that I could, in my best day, talk for 30 hours to any one human about it. So it was set up for fraud. Then there's we need the guy's name, social security number, and sign off saying that you talked for 150. There's nothing. Send us a sheet and we send you money. The federal government comes in and says, we're taking a look at this. This seems wrong. The attorney general says, the U.S. attorney guy comes in and says he thinks almost 100% of this was 100% fraud. We made it easy. We seemed shocked. We closed it down. I am mad that we make it that easy to take my money, our money. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at me. I want to go back now and look at the child care. I want to look at adult daycare. I want to look at with a whole new tooth comb to this and say, really? Did we even try? And I know the intent was good. I don't mean to be mad at you. Do I have a right to be this ticked off? We run a program that poorly?
Yeah, well, and here's the thing is it's not everybody in that program is not. And so really here's the part, as that I am obviously I don't want taxpayer money spent incorrectly. But also we have more people who could have been getting those services had those dollars been spent correctly. And so that also is infuriating. And we did, part of the reason they're able to cut this off is we went and we looked and we're like, the agencies don't have the right tools, right? Because even like Feeding Our Future, there was some whiffs that something was wrong. And they're like, they got taken to court because they tried to shut it down and they had to keep paying, which was just mind-blowingly stupid.
Let me ask you this, Senator, though. Somebody this was Department of Human Services because it went through Medicaid. Right. Bob, we got the new program. You're going to run this bad boy for us. It's $2.6 million 4 years ago. 2.6. We're going to go help the homeless guy. And Bob's like, great, I'm going to figure this thing out. In 4 years, it's $104 million. They had 8,300 the first year people helped. It's up to 21,000. Did anybody go to Bob and say, Bob, you're up to 40 times more money than we thought to make this problem go away? You went from 8,000 homeless people to 21,000 homeless people. Was there one metric that said we need to look at it? You know what I'm saying? It seems like nothing. When the numbers aren't down, the number of homeless people, maybe we found more of them. The money's up 40 times. You know what I'm saying? In one group, 22 businesses doing this for a living, all in the same building. I just went, somebody go talk to Bob. Bob, wake up.
I know, because I know, in Moorhead, I know. So, when we have, it's our local community action program. They they do a similar thing where they go around and they go to these homeless encampments, and we have quite a few, surprisingly. We're connected to Fargo. We're a metro area, 250,000. We've got these. And they go around and they talk to these people, get them into programs, resources. And I know that group, they don't spend that kind of money. They don't get that kind of money. And even then they're like, we have enough. We pay the guy we pay. He really only every other week has the ability, the time to go through the camps.
Yeah. Because
he's also doing other things.
Job.
That's where, and it's super frustrating that, that there are really good actors out there, and they're going to get cut off from this money too.
Exactly.
Bad actors.
And this is what bothers me about this. This is what will separate you and I in all this, and it shouldn't. Al was all for help homeless guy. 2.6 million. I didn't speak. If we can get the homeless, no problem. The child care, the adult daycare, autism centers, all that money that's been stolen went away from the stuff that I want you to help the autistic kids. I'm okay with adult daycare. I'm, as a right-wing knucklehead conservative, you bet. But now I'm pointing, well, look at Al wants to cancel it. Well, yeah, it's not doing what you're saying. It's, why am I the bad guy here to be the adult in the room and say, until you can do it well and stop handing money out? And why are nobody going to jail on this stuff? The Steelers, the people ripping us off, other than Feeding Our Futures,
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is, some of it is, and obviously every time you make a system, somebody finds a way, like, I'm going to scam the system. You drive, but you can't make it you can't make it as easy as just send us names. We'll send you. So that needs to be right. We are definitely not in that place of a balance of like the funds and the oversight. And I'm not sure what that magical number is. I mean, we want, and it's one of these other things. And partly, I will say, DHS is such a behemoth of an agency. It should not. It has its hands in so many things. That agency needs to. I mean, I think we took a step. We broke out the child care portion. We need to break out probably the nursing home, the special needs program. It's so much going on there. How even somebody oversees that agency? It's a behemoth.
I don't disagree with what bust that down. Here's my point. Some naked guy busted in the Capitol with a wedge, right? Should never be that easy. It shouldn't be that easy to send a name in and have the state send you money because you talk to him about homelessness. At some point, we're going to get serious. And next time we'll talk about naked guy. I have a whole thing. This is the doorstop for my studio. Got it for 50 cents. This is my key to the Capitol. That's what I'm calling it. It shouldn't be that easy. Get my point. We got to make it tougher. I love that you come in this program, sir. I love having you on. Thank you for doing this for me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. It is a fun time.
Senator Rob Kupec on the Al Travis Show.